Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a movie summary on the movie All of Us Are Dead. In episode 1, a group of bullies led by Sun Myung-hwan from Hillsong High School attacks fellow student Lee Jin-soo. Jin-soo falls off the rooftop and is hospitalized. His father Lee Byung-chan, a science teacher from Hillsong High, realizes Jin-soo has developed zombie-like behavior. Sometime later in Hillsong High, student Kim Hon-ju is bitten by an infected hamster in the science lab. Byung-chan sees this and locks Hyun-ju inside the lab, but she escapes and transforms into a zombie a few days later. Staffs and students see this and takes Hyun-ju to the school clinic where Hyun-ju suddenly bites the school's nurse. An ambulance takes Hyun-ju to the hospital, and the nurse transforms into a zombie and attacks several students who all got infected and started an outbreak inside the school. In episode 2, due to the rapid spread of the virus throughout the school, students and childhood friends Nam Eun-jo and Lee Chong-san flee and hide in their classroom with surviving classmates Choi Nam-ra, Lee Soo-hyuk, Han Gyok-soo, Yoon Isak, Oh Jun-young, Lee Na-yeon, Kim Ji-min, Seo Hyung-ryung, Yang Dae-soo, Jang Woo-jin, and Kim Min-ji. An infected teacher hiding inside the classroom suddenly transforms into a zombie and bites Minji, and causes other students to flee into another room. Isak, however, becomes infected and is thrown out the window, to Eunjo's despair. Meanwhile, Yoon Gui-nam, a bully, hides in the cafeteria's kitchen. The school's archery team arrives and notices the situation at school. Senior students Yoon Jun-sung, Lee Ha-lim, and Park Min-jin are trapped in a restroom. At the hospital, Hyun-ju infects several other people, which leads to the virus gradually spreading throughout Hillsong. In episode 3, the students leave the current room and goes to the broadcasting room because their English teacher, Miss Park, is there. They fight off another zombie, causing Gyeong-soo to be scratched on his wrist. Na-yeon accuses him of being infected and they isolate him for their safety. After they isolate Gyeong-soo in a corner room, Na-yeon pretends to say sorry, but secretly puts zombie blood on a handkerchief and applies it to his wound, causing Gyeong-soo to transform and attack the survivors, who then threw him out of the window. As the students condemn Na-yeon for murdering Gyeong-soo, Na-yeon walks out of the room with concerned Miss Park following her. Meanwhile, after Ha-liam's death, Mi-jin and Jung-sung are joined by the two archery athlete survivors, Woo-jin's sister Jang Ha-ri and her co-athlete Jung Min-jae in the restroom. Gui-nam escapes from the kitchen, and Hillsong's situation makes the government impose martial law, and they begin to evacuate survivors. Cheong-song's mother goes to school, concerned for his Cheong-song's safety. Meanwhile, Eunjo's firefighter father Nam So-ju and his team are hiding in a government facility with Hillsong's assemblywoman Park Eun-hee and her associates. In episode 4, after police detective Son Jae-ik arrests the fugitive Byung-chan and brings him into custody for creating the virus, Byung-chan recounts that he was angered at the school's indifference towards the bullies who frequently abused his son. He created a virus in an attempt to make his son stronger, only to see his son develop into a zombie. A zombie horde attacks the police station and Byung-chan is bitten. Using his final moments, Byung-chan tells Jae-ik that his laptop is in the school science lab with the answers to eradicate the virus, and he stays behind to block the horde. After receiving the crucial information, Jae-ik and his sole surviving junior colleague, Jeon Ho-chul, escapes. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk and Cheong-song takes a phone in a room, but are separated by zombies. Cheong-song hides in the principal's room where he witnesses Gui-nam killing the principal. He flees with Gui-nam chasing after him. In the outside world, Soju evacuates the government survivors and they board a helicopter. In episode 5, Gui-nam and Cheong-song fights in the infested school library. Cheong-song hits Gui-nam in the left eye and throws him in the horde before escaping. As Gui-nam is devoured, he vows revenge against Cheong-song. Junyeon and Eunjo retrieved a flying drone from a science lab which they used to find Cheong-song. They send the drone outside of the school and are distraught to see the destruction. Meanwhile, the restroom survivors Jun-seon, Mi-jin, Min-jae, and Hari enters the school's nursery before heading to the archery training center to use an emergency phone to call for help. In the outside world, while they're trying to reach Hillsong High, Jae-ik and Ho-chul seeks refuge in a fried chicken restaurant where they find a Hillsong High School student, Park Hee-soo, infected and tied up at the door, with her healthy newborn baby safely placed on a bench away from her. Jae-ik rescues the baby. Simultaneously, Soju and his group reaches a military quarantine zone. Guinam is bitten, but is in a half-zombified state and seeks revenge against Cheon-san. In episode 6, the students use the broadcasting system to inform Cheon-san that they are coming for him. They use music to distract the zombies while they're leaving the room. Guinam hears the broadcast, so he follows the group. Guinam then encounters Soo-hyuk, who refuses to give up Cheon-san's location, so Guinam attacks him. Namra helps Soo-hyuk, but she is bitten by Guinam. Namra and Soo-hyuk push Guinam out of the window before they hide in a room. Namra doesn't immediately transform. Cheon-san, who earlier witnessed Guinam being bitten, argues for her to be killed despite Soo-hyuk's insistence that Guinam was not a zombie when he bit Namra. Namra stays by a window, ready to jump if she turns. Soo-hyuk stays by her side. Namra gradually enters a half-zombified state and has an urge to bite Soo-hyuk, but regains control of herself. Unknown to them, inside the adjacent PTA room, Nayeon is still alive. The restroom survivors fight their way out and enters the archery training center, but Junseon is wounded. At the chicken restaurant, Jae-ik and Ho-cho saves a young girl named Sebin. Soju escapes the quarantine zone and heads for the school. In episode 7, Namra exhibits heightened sense of hearing, vision, and smell as she dives deeper into a half-zombified state. As a plan to escape, they close one of the doors of the room while the other door is left open, and a large barrier is created in the middle of the room. Zombies are attracted to noises made, causing the survivors to flee to the rooftop, but the rooftop door was locked by Kim Jo-soo, a school outcast who was already on the rooftop when the outbreak began. As the zombies follow the students on the staircase leading to the rooftop, Soo-hyuk and Cheon-san fights them off. Cheon-san finds himself face to face with Guinam, who appears unaffected by the fall earlier on. In the outside world, Soju arms himself with a shotgun and ammunition he retrieves from the police station's armory and continues his way to Hillsong High to save his daughter Onjo. While Jae-ik, Ho-cho, Sebin, and the baby successfully escapes the infested streets on a motorcycle, Jae-ik spots a survivor on a rooftop nicknamed Oran Gibberish, who is a live streamer. Ho-cho, however, drives away with Sebin and the baby on the motorcycle because of the zombies. In episode 8, after Namra throws Guinam down the stairs, the door finally opens. However, they are too late as a military helicopter has left with Choso. In the outside world, Ho-cho and the two children return to the kindergarten with a bus. Both Jae-ik and Oran Gibberish jumps onto the top of the bus as it drives off. They make their way through Hillsan and picks up Min Eun-ji, a seemingly uninfected Hillsan high school student, also an outcast and victim of Guinam's bullying. Unknown to them, Eun-ji is also in a half-zombified state. They are soon picked up by the military. At the school during the night, the two different survivor groups bond separately. For the restroom survivors, Hari teaches Mijin archery. The rooftop survivors gather around a campfire and talk about their past. Nayeon decides to bring the rooftop survivor some food from the PTA after repenting on her mistakes. However, Guinam bites Nayeon upon seeing her and he ambushes the rooftop survivors. In episode 9, Guinam reaches the rooftop and attacks Jeon-san before Namra throws Guinam off the roof. After Jae-ik and his companions are taken to the quarantine camp, Jae-ik reveals during the interrogation about Byung-chan's laptop and his last words. The military thus sent a helicopter to Hillsan High, where the troops take the laptop from the school and is about to evacuate the surviving students. However, they receive last-minute mandatory orders to treat any survivors as asymptomatic and abandon them, due to an on-campus incident where Eun-ji suddenly turned aggressive and bit Choso. The soldiers reluctantly left the rooftop survivors behind, much to their mutual distress. The soldiers and scientists study both Eun-ji and a fully zombified soldier. At Hillsan High, it begins to rain and thunder, which impairs the zombies' hearing and vision. Both the rooftop survivors and the restroom survivors notice the zombies' weakness, and thus, both group attempts to make use of it to escape. The rooftop survivors escape and reach the ground floor first, and enters the parking lot. Cheon-san is shocked to see his mother, who is now a zombie, standing in front of him behind a truck. In episode 10, Cheon-san's cry attracts the attention of the nearby zombies, and the rooftop survivors flee. Hyo-ryung falls down while running and Jimin leaves her behind. Jimin gets lost and is killed in the school's football field. Meanwhile, Hyo-ryung is rescued by Woojin. Hari with her companions reunite with her brother and they met up with the others at the auditorium. Upon entry, however, Namra, due to her half-zombified condition, quickly detects a huge zombie horde. During the attack, Min-jae flees outside while Jun-seo sacrifices himself to buy the others more time to hide inside the sports equipment room. The next day, the survivors formulate a plan to use the sports equipment and metal carts to form a movable barricade to surround themselves while making their way out of the auditorium. As they carry out the plan, the zombie horde attacks them and Jun-young becomes infected. Just as the zombies are about to overwhelm the barricade, the door suddenly opens and Eunjo sees her father, who has finally reached the school. Meanwhile, the military and the scientists analyze the data in Byung-chan's laptop, and after the experts predict that the zombie epidemic might endanger all of South Korea, the military decides to bomb Hyeonsan. In episode 11, the survivors escape with Soju and they encounter zombies in the tennis court. Using the flares and whistles, Soju distracts the zombies. The students are able to get out of the court, but Soju is bitten and he dies protecting his daughter. The survivors later reach the school's construction site and stays on its balcony. Guinam encounters Min-jae at the archery training center and violently attacks him. After receiving the last known location of the group, Guinam kills Min-jae and goes on his way. Meanwhile, the military uses drones to attract the zombies in Hyeosan to their selected bombing locations, including Hyeosan High. The students prepare to flee, but Guinam suddenly appears and bites Cheosan. Cheosan pushes him off the building. Seeing that he was going to turn, Cheosan kisses and hugs Eunjo before he enters the building to distract the zombies, allowing the rest to escape from the construction site safely. While Cheosan gets into a final standoff with Guinam, the military bombs the designated locations, wiping out the zombies. Cheosan and Guinam both fell into a hole due to the impact of the explosion. Out of regret for commanding the bombing, the military commander Jin Song-moo commits suicide. In episode 12, after the students escape, they reach an abandoned neighborhood. Namra senses some zombies. The students attempt to escape the neighborhood, but Dae-soo's leg is injured, forcing them to stay and fight off the zombies. Woojin is bitten while saving his sister, resulting in Namra killing him. While they are escaping, Namra increasingly feels an urge to eat her friends, and she almost bites Eunjo. Driven by remorse and in order to not hurt her friends, Namra abandons the group and disappears in the neighborhood. The remaining 6 student survivors, Soo-hyuk, Eunjo, Dae-soo, Hyo-ryung, Mi-jin, and Hari reach a railway and were finally rescued by the military. 4 months later, the government ends the martial law in Hyeosan, but continues to quarantine the residents. The 6 students sneak out of the camp and returns to the destroyed Hyeosan High. Namra, who looks well and healthy despite remaining as a half-zombie, meets with them. Namra says there are a few others like her who escaped from school, and Namra informs the group she will be back before jumping off the rooftop, leaving the others staring after her.